Hello and welcome back to my channel, and we rejoin our characters in the favourite place to be, the Green Dragon Inn. It's been a lively evening and day 11 of the campaign. The characters have successfully recruited an additional member into their merry band. They now have a yellow playing piece to complement their other colours. The primary colour, yellow, representing our ranger, Anarian, Emberheart. He has manifested himself as an AD&D entity for us to feast our eyes on. I have gone to the I've not only got the red of Tristan, the blue of Dagobert, the green of Lindris. I now have the yellow of Anarian, Emberheart. I have his own. I have a slot ready, primed for another player character. If we could get to it effectively, I think I'm gonna cap any party size that I have in this campaign to 5. I think beyond that, we're getting into almost like a platoon. Well, it would be a squad of infantry. It's maybe just getting too much. You would have to have a light machine gun as well. I think we're just 5 is probably tops. So there is a slot available. 4 is a good size. We've got a bit of combat power. We've got 3 effective fighter types. We've got a thief element. We've got the cleric, the medic side, with a pastoral care as well, if we get into some crisis of conscience. And we have a magical dimension from our elf. He has some arcane knowledge that he can apply, and the more powerful, the more experienced he gets, maybe the more combat appropriate magic he will be able to wield. So as I said, I have done the business on Anarian. I've gone through. I've got the fact that he is from. He hails from the Northern Marches, and we specifically targeted the Hex of Wayford. This was in our master map down here. As a side product, I think it is worthy that we at some stage, probably very soon, I actually go through the town creation process once again, and flesh out Wayford in some detail. It's probably one of the largest settlements, I think. I did have a headline. I think it's slightly larger than Marchton. Let me see if I've got the little entry that I put in for Wayford in my notes. Got Hawksmoor, which is 400. So we've got Marchton at 600. We've got Hawksmoor at 400. And I'm sure I had one for Wayford in my. Here we go. Wayford, population 700. Village in Hex G7. So I think we are ready to do maybe another exercise. I think that would be quite, just a nice little recap again to see whether it's still appropriate, and whether we need to tweak it or not. Getting back to Anarian's sheet, we've decided that he's a sailor. Well, some of his background, he is a riverman, on lakes. Altruistic nature. Hit points were through the roof. I calculate these offline. Well, I showed you that he had 12 when we were rolling them. He gets the whopping constitution bonus of +2, and that applied to each hit dice, so he gets a +4 added. So he starts off level 1, 16 hit points. Now, I don't think any other character class can compare. Nothing compares to the ranger at the start if they get almost like the top. So that is he's built for endurance. So if we want a guy up front to take up some punishment, and I think we have that in spades as well with Tristan, because let's maybe just look at our combat effectiveness. You know, Tristan has got hit points of 9, so he's in the same boat. We've got with Lindris, we've maybe not got such a high hit point, but he's got an amazing armor class. His armor class is 2, so he's a very difficult character to hit. I've decided to kit out an Aryan with some chainmail as well. He does, because of his dexterity, it doesn't imbue him with the same bonuses that Lindris has. So his armor class is 5, but that is still very good. So he's going to be quite a hard character to hit. I've decided not to give him a shield because the fact that I just want him to be quite versatile with his short bow, and he can interlace that with his longsword. He's just quick to shift between those 2 different types of weapons. I might revisit that. It might be appropriate for him to maybe have a shield and get his armor class up by 1. Let's just wait and see. And then he's been kitted out with his items. I did have a bit of a change. Yeah, I'm going to have to go through the other characters and update it for. But you know, I'd mentioned that when I got this new version, there was this amazing appendix at the end. What was it? Appendix O, where we got a cumbrance of standard items, and I've been using this for an Aryan. It's slightly different to the calculations that I have been doing for my previous characters, because I didn't have that access to that. So I'll go back in and retrofit those ones, but in general terms, it's not going to change their encumbrance categories. Tristan is still going to be able to do an awful lot of lifting with his amazing strength, and I think Lindris and Dagobert, it's not going to affect whether they go into a higher band. So I've done all the calculations on an Aryan, and he is now sitting at 870. And because of his quite high strength, he gets an extra 200 on his encumbrance abilities. So that puts him bang in the 9-inch move category. So he's just the same as the others. I think Dagobert has a 12-inch move because of his just quick, yeah, he has 12-inch just now. I can't remember that. I think it was down to the fact that he didn't have very good armor. Yeah, so he's due for an upgrade with his armor. But yeah, okay. You know, maybe that's something that we can think about for Dagobert, just to get his protection up. Okay, I don't think there's anything else I need to, that kind of sticks out. He started his gold, I calculated at 180. And his equipment costs 190, so he's got 61. And remember, the Rangers, they don't really carry personal wealth about, but I thought, you know, certainly maybe starting money, maybe a slight exception that he's just maybe got that in like a little purse. He'll probably give that to Fredegar, just like the other characters. You know, Fredegar has probably mentioned some of the terms and conditions of the place and some of the services that the Green Dragon offers, and he's probably quite keen just to say, okay, Fredegar, you take my, you know, it's quite a tidy sum, 61 gold pieces. You take that, that's my savings. I'm going to apply that to my adventuring. That's part of my adventuring life. Let's hope I can amass more. I've got to give away most of it according to the Rangers rules, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So that's good stuff there. On the course of action that the characters were going to take, we decided at the end of last session that they were going to revisit Dunmorna, and this had been one of the big lures to get an Aryan into the group, and for him to feel quite confident that he'd make the right choice. Associate with people that were successful, had shown their mettle, and effectively reaped quite a lot of reward, because we've come back with some very, you know, quite large ticket items, particularly Dark Slayer, which is an amazing +2 broadsword. that Lindris is quite keen to show off and flashy sword on occasion. Maybe not in front of Baldur, because maybe that's not quite politic. But he's very keen to go down this line, and the party have agreed, and they think there are still rich pickings in Dunmorna. And I thought, I mean, it might be quite a good opportunity for us, just before we kick off with the adventuring, is to have a think about just what are all the places of mystery that we have discovered in our game. And if we just, I'll just take the map out just now, and kind of place everything that we have, and have a think about our locations, and just all the things, you know, just from all the die rolls and the random things, and the interactions and the rumors, and all sorts of little mechanics, the rule of 4 and all that sort of stuff, and summarize just for ourselves what all the adventure possibilities are, and whether they can offer maybe some tantalizing other adventures. And I think that might be quite a nice little exercise, just to almost you know, as I say, tantalize us for what is to come. So I will get my pad, and we will start noting these things down. So I'll just move my Dungeon Master's Guide out the way slightly. I might actually just take a sheet out and use that for our scribbling. A bit more wieldy. And if we start with our first one, which is our old favourite, we've got number 1, we've got Dunmorna. And Dunmorna is, I would call it, that's quite a mature dungeon now. We've been, if we go this time, this will probably be our 4th foray into the depths of Dunmorna. It's got quite I would say quite a rich backstory now. You know, we've developed quite a theme for it. It's got a feel of its own. We've got Callistra, we've got the Imperial Past, we've got the volcano, we've got the actual region roundabout, which has got quite a lot of distinctive features, like the fissures and the smoke, and you know, basically the horror landscape, and the fact that it's quite difficult to get to it, even though it's quite close. You know, you always get almost like a feeling of dread about the place, and all that type of stuff. And then we've had a few interesting encounters. It's led to some spin-offs with the kobolds and the dwarves. We've had the magic pool. We've had the skeletons turning up with all the magic sword and the potions and all the things that have spun off from that. You know, I think that it has been almost like a gold seam in the mine that we've managed to exploit and get a lot of, squeeze all that good solo role-playing stuff out of it. And I think it's still got prospects for more, because we have like level 2 to do. We've got, you can go back and do some of the rooms and corridors that we haven't looked down. You know, we didn't follow the kobolds, for example. And also there was a passage on the other side of that magic. You know, if we just, I think it was level 0, if I get my map out. Yeah. And I think this is what the characters have targeted, that when we come back to Dunmorna, we will go down the sinkhole like we did last time, and then proceed all the way in through the octagonal room, up the chimney, which went up to 1 level, up to level 0, and then proceed down to where the magic pool is, and empty or get a sample when we are returning. But before we do that, let's go follow this, where the kobolds were down this passage, and maybe even go down this passage too on the opposite side. So I think that's kind of what they've decided to as their strategy on the return. So Dunmorna, it's still delivering. I still enjoy Dunmorna. It's our starting dungeon. It is on our little map. It's only about 2.5 hour journey to get there. The ruined palace. It all started with a random die roll and a few ideas, and it's turned into a nice little place of mystery. So that's number one. Number two, we have our new one, which is the Dark Water Lake. And we have an island in the middle. We have a temple, an ancient temple that was part of the Empire and was a site of pilgrimage for the Lord of Shadows, Varel. He who will not be, his name will not be mentioned in the light of day. And also we had the causeway, which always, you know, the mist-covered causeway where Malor had quite a bit of an accident, if we remember. And this was all gained from information. So I think that is another rich theme of adventure. That sounds quite tantalising. And we could put a bit of an individual stamp on Dark Water Lake if we want to go back. And I think to get the inside track, we thought we'd probably recruit one of the Party B members who have already been there. And I'm toying with the idea that our new character, Anarian, he has a level of knowledge maybe about each of these hexes, depending on where he originated. And the fact that he, as a ranger, has probably been travelling across the Northern Marches. So I've got a mechanic that I'm developing, probably based on his intelligence, his wisdom, a combination of intelligence, wisdom, his level, and probably another factor, and to give a kind of an average, and then just roll it on a d20, and that's maybe whether he knows something about anything, any particular details about that hex that he's come across in his travels. So he might know about a bit about this thing as well on Dark Water Lake. So I think Dark Water Lake is quite a goer for adventure, and also it involves a bit of land transport, because we're going to have to move from Marchton over to Dark Water Lake, and this will be an element of wilderness overland travel, and we haven't really maybe experienced to the full that dimension yet. So I'd quite like to follow up on that, and see where that particular avenue of inquiry goes. The next that we have is a new one that we've just discovered. There's this rumour of a barrow, or barrows, with outlaws, and we have the adjectives of wild and withered going around. Now I'm thinking of a way, just a general way, to actually integrate some of these rumours into our game, and have a kind of almost like a master matrix which pulls all the threads that we have already got just now, and the rumours and some of the Seaward's missions, and has almost like a process for each of those when we put them on the matrix, how much they progress, or whether they do or not progress every week that we are in the Green Dragon. So you know, there is a kind of, there was the truth index that we still have to apply. We haven't done the 1 to 10 to see whether this is real. But I'm quite tempted to have maybe a barrow in the thing. We might do the rule of 4 and have 1 to 4 options about what these outlaws are and what this barrow is. You know, I quite fancy the idea of having a barrow which was created by the people that lived here before the Empire came, and they had kings, ancient kings that they have buried in these barrows with their treasure. And maybe there was magic placed on these barrows, that if they were ever defiled and whatever, there'd be a curse. And what that has done is it's created withering of the forest round about. And the outlaws maybe have taken advantage of this and are hiding. Or maybe the outlaws, maybe they could be soldiers from the war, this rebellion that's going on, and they've decided to cross into the northern marches and escape. Or they could be smugglers, or there'll be maybe, as I say, four options I think that we can select, and then see how much truth is behind each of those, and I can integrate that. But I quite like having the idea of having a barrow, and that sounds quite exciting. Discovering that, and the fact that it might be cursed, that sounds cool. So that's hotting up. So imagine these almost as little, like your old AD&D modules. We'd get like the Tomb of Horrors is Dunmorna, or and White Plume Mountain is one of them, and it's that type of thing that I'm trying to almost like have like mini dungeons all over the place. And some of the these have just been just from gameplay, from solo gameplay. We've got them. Another favorite that we've never really gone back to and exploited is Merlin Keep, and that was one of our original, actual, genuinely generated items. The deserted, or is it deserted, keep of Merlin Keep. Quite far away. That's going to be that's 15. That'll be 30 miles away from Marchton. In the isolated, these are called the outlands part of the Northern Marches. I think that's has quite a prospect for exciting. Is it occupied by some terrible monster? Why is it deserted? What's its background? I think that's quite a tantalising line of inquiry as well to follow up. And following on for that, one of the first things we generated was the brigands, and the brigands have a complex with caves, and in those caves they have potential prisoners and slaves. Maybe the brigands complex would be quite an interesting, probably something to do maybe further down the line, when we've got a bit more combat power and we have a bit more aligned with what Seaward's missions are, because that sounds like something that would involve the authorities on the Seaward side. But I would say I'd rate that as one of our potential places of mystery. And the final one are the on our doorstep, and that's the catacombs in the mountain of Marchton. And these were the sealed off catacombs that only now are being opened on a rather tentatively for Rubicus to allow maybe some of the adventurers that are in the keep to move in and see what they can discover in terms of old archives and the libraries of the Empire that were when they were stationed here, and what horrors are lurking in the depths of the mountain. That could be a very exciting place for the characters to be involved in. And I think with all these, that's how it's got 6 that we've generated as we've gone through the campaign. And maybe there are other things that are hinted at. There's the kobold layers, there's the dwarven, we haven't done the dwarven fortress yet, the citadel. That's something else we can do. But almost that you would classify as almost classic dungeon type adventures. That's 6 that we've generated in the space of all these videos. And we haven't even started maybe exploring some of the regions round about. And part of the exploration mechanism is that there is a chance that you come across places of mystery. I'll probably have to put a bit of a cap on it. We don't want them all over the place and just popping up every 5 minutes. I think the way that they have been appearing, you know, if we look at the map, you know, we've got Dunmorna in this hex here, in our starting hex, and that was obligatory because that was our starting, you know, that's part of my startup process, that we would have in the starting hex, we would have a place of mystery. So that ticks the box there for Dunmorna. Darkwater Lake is in the hex adjacent. So, you know, if that's the only place in Darkwater Lake, you know, that's fair enough. The Barrows and the Outlaws we have just located in the Old Forest, and it's probably going to be nestled to the south here, away from the military road. Merlin Keep is quite far away, and that's over here in this hex, so that's okay. The Brigands Complex is probably going to be within the Badlands, this hex here, and the Catacombs in the Mountain just so happens to be in Marchton itself. So I wouldn't say that, you know, they're all over the place. It's not like we've got to basically discount any. But maybe we just need to be minded that we don't want it to become too common. Otherwise, you know, the mystery, the place of mystery doesn't have the same gravitas and impact that we really want it to have in our game world. Okay, I just wanted to indulge myself a bit, just to, and almost like put a bit of a summary on where we are, place of mystery wise, and I think that's useful, just having a little list of where we are. Okay, so the final thing that the characters need to do on day 11 is to get a message to Periford that they are planning to head off the next day, and Fredegar says, yes, I can get a message up to Periford up in the keep. Part of one of our services is to facilitate our adventurers while they stay. So I can send one of our domestic staff up there with a message. What do you wish to say? And we, Dagobert says, well, we'd quite like Periford to just be aware that we're planning to head away at 7 o'clock with the view that we return before nightfall, and then we will head straight up to the keep on return and speak to one of the guards at the gate and see whether we can get Periford to come down and get Kayla to do some analysis for us. And he said, yeah, that's fine, I can put all that down and I'll send it up and wait for a response. So we'd expect to have Periford send some form of response back to us the next morning before we head off. Okay, and the other thing is, now that Anarian's part of the party, we check out what his inventory is. We also do our own inventory. You know, we've got to choose our spells. And we've got Lindris. He decides to go for his whole portal spell again. And Dagobert thinks, well, probably Cure Light Wounds is going to be the most useful for us, you know, just to kind of top up our hit points. So that's the spells that they memorize and have ready. And also we make sure that our provisions and the oil for our lantern is filled up again. I think with Dagobert, he's always going on about his lantern and how much oil he's got. He did have an extra flask, the ones we were going to use throwing at the spider, which we didn't use, and he is probably almost all the way through that. So Fredegar said that he can offer some oil as part of the service. You know, this is a fantastic place to stay, you know, for a reasonable, maybe an extra cost. So you will pay face value to do that, so I can do the accounting on that. So at least we're all topped up for oil for Dagobert's lantern, so he's very happy when he goes off to bed. And there's another amazing service. There's a bit like a kind of Amazon type service that Thudibert offers, a kind of mail order facility that you can put an order up to Thudibert for maybe minor items, that don't require any form of negotiation, and you're based on the player's handbook, shopping list. You can peruse it. It's almost like you can't do it online, but you can do effectively. Probably the characters, say, if you thought about it in real life, they'd probably have in their head, they'd have things, almost like lists of equipment that they're used to. But using a mechanic is that we've got this shopping list, so we can just pick off this and put the order into Thunderbirds, and it'll be there. It'll be there the next day. It's like a kind of Amazon Prime, the Amazon Prime of Marchton, Thunderbirds Emporium. So I think we're all topped up, just about ready to go. We decided to go for an early night. We're not going to wait up for all Roland's stuff, and that's kind of carrying on in the background. So we're just going to have to love him and leave him. We're sure that he'd probably do a fantastic job. We give instructions to Fredegar, wake us early. We want a nice early breakfast. We're off at 7. So next day strikes. It is day 12 of our adventurer's life in Marchton. We are already up to, there's day 11, where we had the trial of the captain of the watch, poor old Kemander. He had his head severed by the hooded axeman. We recruited an Aryan into the party. That was a major win. And to boot, it was fine weather. What more could you want? So, day 12, which is a Friday. Friday looms. We roll our weather dice to see what it is. And I thought I'm going to have change maybe to some of my weather rules and say that whatever comes up, we're not going to do this thing as potential weather anymore, because I found that to be a bit of an overhead. I'd rather just go a straight roll for the type of weather, and that's what it is. So we get a 4 and it's fine, so that's good. We have fine weather on our first day, and I've already prepared a little sheet already in advance. Adventure 4, day 12, and we're going to have fine weather. So I must be getting used to going down Dunmorna. I've almost got my little sheets ready, where we have the calculated time it takes Marchton to the Rough Hex, 5 miles, it would take 2 hours. The Dunmorna lava field to the palace complex, another 30 minutes. We've now got the assistance of a ranger. He's probably going to even speed up the efficiency of our traversing of any of this terrain. He might give us some pointers on just how to tighten up, and again, improve our efficiency on that. Our start time is going to be 7 o'clock. We're ready to go. So the next day we get up. It's a lovely morning. We head down to the gate. We get our old map of Marchton, just to kind of visualize this in our head, as if we don't need it. We get up at the Green Dragons. Green Dragons here, number 10. We head to the gate. There is a gate guy there. I've decided to call him Brendan. He's quite chatty this morning. He says, "Oh, well, you're off. You're turning this into a bit of a habit now. Leaving at 7, off to Dunmorna again." And an Aryan just snaps him. He snaps back at him and he says, "Hold your tongue, saucy knave," in a kind of very medieval sort of way. And Danker says, "No, it's okay. It's okay, an Aryan. We're used to this kind of banter from this chap. He's got that kind of way." And he says, "Oh, I just did not like his manner." So Anarian's already showing his rather, maybe he's not got the fantastic ability, social skills wise, but we're dealing with maybe a bit of humour from a civilized person. But I think having the comradeship and the level-headedness of individuals like Dagobert and Lindris, and even Tristan, who's a bit young and maybe on the naive side. I think that's going to have a very positive influence on our Anarian, and he's going to be. What we need to do is really work on Anarian's social skills, because he's got this whopping charisma of 16, which is a real asset in negotiations. Now, his downside, as I explained, I think in the last video, are that the Rangers aren't really liked that much. Well, it's not that they're not liked, they are treated like outsiders and foreigners. And in fact, Brendan kind of, he almost like mutters under his breath, these Rangers, that's just what they're like. And they don't do themselves any favours either, because they're quite abrupt often, as Anarian's shown with some of the residents. So maybe Anarian will learn his ways and soften his tone. And what better examples to follow than our little coloured people, our little red and yellow, red and blue and green player characters. And we'll turn into some unified, very strong colour together. Okay, less of this talking. Let's get over to Dunmorna. What I might do is I might kick that off as a bang at the start of the next session. I think one of the things I wanted to do in this session was really just to set things up, get Anarian on board, show you exactly what he was like, what his equipment was, what his part in this was, and also quite importantly for me was just to kind of highlight some of the other avenues of gameplay that I think we're going to be doing with all these different places of mystery that we've got on our little list that we've done. I thought it was quite important just to extract that, and so that you get an idea of some of the options that will be coming up. And also what I want to do specifically with these is to start developing maybe some specific encounters and monster tables for these places, and add a bit of individuality. Because one of the deficiencies, well, it's not really a deficiency, it's just the fact that you can't really do this in the Dungeon Master's Guide, is with all the Appendix A and generating all this type of stuff, you can't really put maybe almost like, say I wanted a specifically Dunmorna type environment. This doesn't really do it without maybe some interpretation. So I want maybe some things to maybe assist me that work on the theme of these things when I am doing the hard mechanics for this particular game. Okay, so right, yeah, I'm quite tempted maybe just to start the game, and I feel almost like I'm quite eager to get going. So let's get the characters started. I've decided to do. I've given in to my. I've not been able to resist temptation, and I have just given in to my urges to start adventuring. So yeah, we leave Brendan. He's in a bit of a huff with us. Dagobert, maybe just touches his arm and says, "Don't worry about Anarian. We'll make sure to keep him in his box next time." And Brendan sort of says, "Yeah, okay." And he wishes as well. So we head off. It's a nice fine morning. We go down the military road. We do our usual. We take a right as we approach the bend before it heads off towards the East Lake, and we head through these pleasant hills that we have gone through a few times. Anarian can give us a bit of lowdown. He says, yeah, I've been through these hills several times. Yeah, they are quite benign, but you have to be very careful as you get towards these backlands, particularly where the old volcano was. And I'll be quite interested to see how you navigate the lava field, and see whether you are taking the right paths and steps. And we show him just exactly how we've been navigating, and he takes us maybe through some interesting alternative routes as we go through the hills, and we might be able to shave maybe 10-15 minutes off our time, just because the fact that he knows the kind of efficient way of traversing hills and getting around them, and what particular ways to go through these things. And then when we get to the lava field, he's very good at spotting the right rocks to avoid, and the right path. So we've been following a kind of well-trodden path that we've been on, and he says, right, okay, I can see why you've gone this way, but why don't we try going up over here? And suddenly we're there much quicker. We've got probably there in about 20 minutes. So I think with having an Aryan with us and showing us just some of the tips of the trade, I would suppose, we've managed to get to our dungeon site, our sinkhole, because we think we were going to go down. We like going down the sinkhole route. We're gonna because I think with the going down the actual cliff, that's quite certainly for coming back, it's quite a venture, whereas the sinkhole, that has proven to be quite an efficient way of getting into the dungeon. It's also in an area that we don't have to maybe traverse too much of the actual dungeon to get to where we need to get to. So he says, all right, okay, you've got a sinkhole here. Let's see how you do that. So Tristan says, well, I usually just climb down, lower down my rope, climb down, and there's a tower at the top, which has been hidden by the lava flow. And then there's a circular staircase, but you have to be very careful because of the flagstones, and they're very loose. And we've done this a few times, and we haven't really come across any instances. I usually have to climb back up again and have the rope, climb up the sinkhole. And I usually do that because I have some thieving skills in this department. But we can cover that when we come back out again. So Anarian's saying, oh, this is very good, and we get down to on the sinkhole. We do our thing where we go down the sinkhole to the top of the tower. There's the circular staircase that goes down another 30 feet, and then we see the stairs lead down into the dungeon. Dagobert, he says, it's very important we have a bit of light, and now that we have two humans in the party, hooray, we've got 50-50. We definitely need some light, and Anarian says, yes, light's very important. We are useless without light. And also the half elves say, yes, that's we can't just rely on our vision as well. Get the lantern of Bane on with, and show us the way, Dagobert. So Dagobert obliges. We decided to make a beeline for the chimney, so we do that. We go through this area where we originally met Party B a long time ago. We go through into this room, into room 9, which is, I don't think that's got anything particular. I do have the key somewhere, but I don't think we met any. We had this octagonal room, and there is still, in fact, there's still a room. There's a door there that we could go through. We haven't done. There's a door here that we haven't gone through yet, but we've decided to be a bit more focused this time and just go for it. We're already going to start. Let's start our little time thing. So we've got 2 hours. We started at 7, so that's 9 o'clock. We get through. We've shaved off maybe 20 minutes, so let's say it's but then maybe what we're going to do is just maybe have a bit more of a breather. So let's just stick it to 9:30, and maybe a bit more description to Anarian of just where we're going, and some of the things, and maybe he's taking mental notes of things that might be useful when we come back out again. So we'll stick to our original game plan, and then we've got like 9:30 where we start our exploration, and getting down the sinkhole and whatever. I think that's probably going to be about another 3 rounds. So we just put 3 in there. And then what we do is we put the turns up here. We have 6 turns. Remember, we rest every 6th turn. And then we have the dreaded random dungeon roll. Okay, so we head through the dungeon. Anarian is he's very interested. We're moving at quite a speed because this has all been explored and mapped. We get up to the chimney. It goes up 1 level. We need to do a climbing roll for Tristan, and I think it's 85%. Yes, it's 85%. He doesn't get any benefits for his race. So we get our percentage dice out. At least we'll get at least 1 percentage roll in this game, this session. So I'll make sure I've got the right dice. Let's see what we get. We get a 66. So Tristan gets up. I would say that will take about three rounds to do that. So maybe taking a round to get round, and then another 3 to get up. So we're up to 7 in our first turn. That's taken 7 minutes. Excuse me. Tristan throws his rope back down again. All the characters manage to climb up using the rope. There's no risk for them because it's quite safe with the rope. And Tristan, being such a strong fellow, he's very good at just giving us a bit of extra assistance. When you think of it, Anarian's very strong too, and the other 2 characters are above average strength too. So we're not really going to, we don't have any kind of weak links in our group. We are now up to level 0, so I can get level 0 chart out. Excuse me. And we move back up into this room here and through into the largest room in the complex, which had nothing in it. Head back down to the magic pool room. The glistening magic. Well, it's not glistening. It's just a kind of slight tint of blue. And Anarian goes, "Oh, this is what you've been talking about. This pool. It certainly looks enchanted. You are right to be wary of this pool. It does look looks maybe slightly dangerous. Yeah, I think definitely the caution was the best part of Valor there. I would recommend what exactly your strategy was, to take a sample and get someone qualified to find out what it is. So we enter this room. I would say that's probably taken us maybe about another round to do that. So we're up to 8. We decide to go down. Which one are we going to do? Let's follow our original route and go down this direction. And if you remember, there was a kobold debacle here where we had our little run-in with Grishnash and his little pack of 11 kobolds in total. And there are 3 little kobold bodies, one of them being the mighty Grishnash. However, when you think about it, those kobolds fled. They might have been hiding somewhere down here, and I don't think they would have left the mighty Grishnash, his body, in such an unceremonious way. I think they might have come back and at least probably hidden these other 2 bodies away, or maybe even carried them, because kobolds aren't very large, and they could probably be doing 2 or 3 of them carry each body, but certainly take the mighty Grishnash and take his body to back to their lair chief, their king, their chieftain, and show him the bloody corpse of the mighty Grishnash, and so that the chief could say, I swear vengeance on whoever defiled my champion, the mighty Grishnash, who is my master when it comes to laying traps and devilish schemes to lure in these horrible surface dwellers. So I don't think there's going to be any bodies there. So even though the characters are describing it, there are none. They're gone. So I get my little rubber out and take them away. Okay, so we are at this point where we'll do this, and then that's it. I've decided we'll do our periodic check on that bit, and then we'll get cracking into the depths of Dunmorna first thing next session. So let's see what we do with our periodic check. And I do have a periodic check counter on my little thing, and on level 0 we're up to 5. So remember, it's 20 per level. We still haven't exhausted it for level 1. We're up to 13, so we've still got 7 left to go before we exhaust level 1. So there's plenty to go, plenty in the tank. So we'll get our D20 out, we'll prime it and ready to go. I'll get it into view, camera view. We get a 3, and a 3 is a door. So we have a door. So there's a door here. Great. Are we going to open the door? It's almost like I'm not wanting it almost like to end on a thing. Let's just we'll tell you what, we'll end there, and we'll end on the door. The characters are about to decide what are we going to do with this door. Are we going to try and push it and open it, or are we going to listen to it and see whether there's something on the other side? Shall we do the listening thing, and then there might be a monster on the other side? What was that, 1 in 12? Okay. I am tempted to do that. I have to get my 12-sided dice out before let me get my 12. Yeah, here we go. I think Dagobert says, look, we've been cautious in the past, and also we've got the ranger. He's going to help us when it comes to surprise. Let's see if we can hear anything. So they take it in turn to do. We'll get Dagobert's made a suggestion. He's going to try and listen. So he doesn't hear anything. So the characters are primed and ready to open this door. I'll have to decide the start of the next session exactly who does the pushing and the shoving. Tristan is usually quite good on that, but we might want to bring in another couples. We might have an alternative strategy with just whether missile weapons should be used. We haven't really used missile weapons that much. Is that going to be a factor here? Okay, let's find out at the start of next one. Okay, well, thanks for watching me on this one. We've penetrated into the depths of Dunmorna again. We're ready to start uncovering its secrets for next session. Okay, thanks again. I'll see you next time.